Millions of our fellow citizens wake up and go to work with the awareness that they could lose their job.
Casey Stegall says he was fired from the children's home because he's gay.
He said, "I'm terminating you because I don't feel comfortable having you on my team because of your lifestyle choices."
Crystal Moore, the first female police chief of Latta, South Carolina, was abruptly fired after more than 2 decades of service as a police officer. Moore is also openly gay.
I would much rather have somebody who drank too much taking care of my child than I had somebody whose lifestyle is questionable.
I was kicked out of the Navy for being gay.
Gay people have the same rights as everyone else. There are no rights that are missing.
So I joined Xerox in 1987, and I started back in the closet because I'd just gone through losing my job.
People are already protected in the workplace. I think this legislation is unnecessary.
My first mentor wanted to send me to this 90-day program at Smith College, and am I willing to go? I had this sheer panic, and I started crying at dinner and was shaking, and he's like, "What on earth is going on?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I have to ask somebody that I had a partner at home and that I was gay." And he reached over and he put his hand, on mine, and he said, "Julie, it's okay. Nothing's going to happen to you." I said, "By the way, I already knew." As I continued my journey with my career, certain stars were beginning to come out, and it would introduce dialogue, but it would also introduce negative dialogue. I was afraid to come out sometimes to be judged or worry that I could be stalling my career. It was when I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, that I had my first big hurdle to overcome. Met my new crew and found that I wasn't very welcomed by my direct reports. I started working at the ground level and built relationships, and eventually they realized that they weren't going to prevail in chasing me out. I got married to my wife, Allison, and since wearing a ring, actually, I've been asked probably more about my life than I have for years. I was at dinner with 2 new customers. So when asked the question, "Am I married?" I said, "Yes." "And what does your husband do?" And I said, "Well, my wife, Allison, does this, that, and the other." And it got a little awkward, but in about 30 seconds, it was like nothing had ever happened. "So tell me more. My nephew's gay." And pretty soon all the gay people they know in life, they start sharing their stories about. It felt very authentic. The relationship just took a big step forward. I spent the first 15 years of my career hiding who I was. I missed out. I could have been freer sooner. When I chose to come work for NCR, I was very selective. I told them I was a lesbian, and was that going to be a problem? I would not work for a company that did not have an open and inclusive culture. But if you are in a place you want to stay and there's challenges and barriers, knock them down. Do something about it. I guarantee you there's people around you who will help. My vision is that every LGBT leader embraces who they are and realizes the responsibility to create that environment. Being an LGBT executive and being successful in a company is completely possible today.